Okay. Hi everyone, Squire Davlon here. Today I'm going to go over kind of modular arrowheads and how to attach them to arrow shafts for archery. One thing though, modular arrowheads you've seen a lot more because all of these ones that have a symbol on them right now, they were at one point a full arrow. So you see there, you got 4 arrows, and with modular heads, instead of having to basically rebuild 4 complete new arrows, I can now I've just taken off the broken shafts, and I can just put new shafts on these, and I'll have 4 good arrows after I attach them. So that's really the big thing with using modular shafts versus built-on arrowheads that are just built on the shaft itself. So as far as materials, so what we've been doing here today, these are modular arrowheads by Gorg. So I bought them through him at shop and events and stuff. I also have the last couple of years now, we've seen these are screw-on arrowheads. So I'm going to do a couple of those. Those ones, they have a kind of a newer tech, and it's kind of take care of one of the steps that you have to do with the Gorg heads. So I'll be doing both sets today. So those are the arrowheads. So you can buy whatever length shafts. I get 32-inch shafts. You can just get carbon fibers or whatever your preferred is. I get 32-inch because they put the draw stop close to where the head is itself, so I don't have to. I'm not undershooting my 28-inch draw, and I'm not having to put like a draw stop and then an extra 3 inches of arrow before the head. And duct tape. The one thing I do not have with me that you might have, depending upon the shaft you get or the head you get, is a hacksaw. So basic modular head, what they've basically done is you got a piece of PVC pipe, and then with a penny cap, and then the arrow is built up on that. And the basics of the head of the modular is you're just able to slide the shaft into the PVC and attach it. That way, it's all built on the PVC. However, the links of the PVC and the arrows aren't always set up right. So if you want to put your draw stop right at the base of the arrow, you might need to cut down the PVC pipe part. These ones I've kind of already cut down before, since I say these are all on my arrows before. But you might need, and the best way to do that, you just use a hacksaw, kind of measure out where you want your arrow to end at, and just cut off the excess of the PVC. So basically, going to the actual attachment part, like a head, one of my shafts. So with arrows, I say it's built on PVC. So one thing is we have what's basically, when you check arrows, you check for plunge, which is basically the shaft when it goes in, moving back and forth. Because the PVC is slightly bigger than the arrow shafts themselves, one of the first steps you're going to do is you take your duct tape, and I'm going to take off strips, fairly long. They basically, however much your shaft goes into the arrow, that's about how long a strips you want to take off. It doesn't have to be exact, but you don't want too little, because then you won't go the full, you won't fill the full PVC. You don't want too long, because then you just got some stuff left out, or duct tape on the outside, and it may not look the best. And what I'm going to do with these ones is I'm going to basically build up the top of the arrow, the start of the arrow. And what this is going to do is this thickens the arrow shaft at this point, so that whereas before, when I kind of put it into the PVC of the modular head, it kind of just slid in and out. This will make it so it's a tighter fit. It'll help reduce that plunge motion. So basically what I'm doing going down one side and then going down the other, kind of build it up evenly. You try not to, you don't want one side to get too thick, because then it's kind of just awkward, it just doesn't fit and it's kind of centered. And I'm just going to build this up until I want to get it so it's nice. So it's not going to like roll the tape and like kind of seal the arrowhead in, but it's going to be thick enough that that it won't move that much. As you can see, this method uses a lot of duct tape. We do recommend duct tape over others. It usually withstands heat and keeps grip pretty well. Just as I'm going here, check. That's it. So that much, a little too thick. So I took off the last piece I put on. So now, put it in. It's kind of, now it's, I can't pull it out as easy as I did before. So that's the first step. So now that's, main thing with that is that'll now keep it from like being able to go in and out. So we just have to plunge. So make sure it's pushed all the way to that penny cap. Okay. Next step, what I'm gonna do, if you notice on the PVC, it's slightly thicker than the shaft. I'm going to basically start rolling around the duct tape around this part until it becomes even with the PVC itself. So just kind of building up the shaft area there. And I like to do this, try and keep it as tight to the shaft as or to where the PVC ends. Because one of the goals is this will basically become your draw stop in the end. That way you don't have to do like an excess, like another draw stop later or farther down the shaft. Kind of checking. I want to make sure kind of all around that it is kind of even, so I can really kind of set up there. So now they built that up, it's kind of, you can tell it's kind of even to each other. So next thing, so what that'll do basically now is that you get that all the way in. When it hits, it's going to hit that, it'll hit that, brace it. So I'll deal with, like I say, that deals with all the plunge and everything. So next thing, big thing when it comes to attaching them is when you do, first you do check for a plunge when you do a test and arrow. next you're going to test for twist. So how, like the arrowhead rotating around the shaft itself. So to prevent that, what we're going to do is going to kind of use, I like to use a slightly smaller than I would before, but take a piece of duct tape, not nearly as long. So about an 1.5 and 2-inch piece. And I'm going to kind of, best way I think to do it is take kind of the corner, put it to the bottom of that part you build up. And I'm going to just kind of, so I kind of rotate it around, twisting. And you don't have to go too deep. You want to get it both on the base that you built up and up the arrowhead a good amount. That kind of creates a twist there. And then what we'll do is basically the same thing. Take another piece. Find the, yep. And in my duct tape. About the same length. And so I'm gonna do the kind of, I twisted this one from the base up. And now I'm kind of going to create kind of a counter for this one. I'm going to do kind of the opposite, where I'm going to start the outside corner where I kind of end it, and I'm going to twist kind of opposite direction down. And what that's going to do is that kind of just pulls them in both, kind of pull the tape in both directions. Mm-hmm. And that'll help prevent twists because it kind of pulls against and torques against each other. And I'm just going to do that all the way around the shaft. So this way, if you try to twist it one direction, the tape will pull, it will hold. You twist it the other way, it'll hold as well. I'm just going to kind of go around and do that. All the way around the shaft. Anyone want to see, anyone have any questions on this one, on this helix shape, or want to see it? Yeah, so what I'm doing, basically starting here, and I am kind of twisting around so it gets up. Okay. And then doing the same thing with the next piece.
Just going around crisscrossing?
Yeah. Cool. So basically where I ended that piece up top, going down the other direction of the twist. That was a little short, but so now I have that built up, and so now it makes it so the head's not going to twist that much. I mean, when checking arrows, you're not going to sit there and grab both and just like really crank it, but there's no easy twist to it. So that'll stop the arrow. I say the friction when we built up the shaft will stop, and building against this base will stop that plunge, and now that helix will stop that twist. So now what we can do, measure our arrow. So that's the basics of attaching them. So now it's attached. With this method, one of the cool things about it is, like I said, if I've done this right, got my shaft right and everything, yeah, this one's a little short. So I may miscalculated my length. So this is at 27 inches. I do mine kind of short, that way there's just never a chance of it failing. But what I can then do is where I built up that base, I can basically do the same thing. And right there, I already have kind of a start to my draw stop. So now, if I want to, I can just start building that up more, and that'll turn into the draw stop itself. I say no bell, it's a 1/4 inch. That does take a long time and a lot of tape, but
yeah. If I can do that in editing, sure.
Luckily, I'm not going to build up a full. But this is just kind of the where I would start that stuff.
Actually, we can do editing magic by doing this right here.
So it's not quite a 1/4 inch, but I say I built it up. That'll work as a adequate draw stop. Doesn't quite meet Belagost 1/4 inch, but it will stop at the pole. So at most, if you want to do something else, you can cover the edges here or the front as well.
Nope, arrow's even.
That way you're just covering those ends, that way they don't fray any. And that will be your basic modular. Question?
Yeah. So when I do projectiles check at a lot of events, a lot of times I see that the draw stops have like telescoped or slipped lower than the actual inputted draw stop length. Do you have any methods you recommend to prevent that from happening?
Biggest one I will say is to stop the draw stops from kind of deforming or slipping. That is why we use duct tape as opposed to electrical tape. Or cloth tape as our build-up. Duct tape is very good when it comes to heat, and there's a lot of strength to it. A lot of electrical tape, you'll see that it'll kind of, as it gets heated throughout the day, like days out and stuff, it'll start to slip, it'll start to slide, it comes unsticky. Duct tape is very good at holding against that. So you will have some, especially like I had a couple, like I've vested them, and it's the pressure over time, yes, but even then I had a arrow I kind of hung up like this for months, and at the end it's like, yeah, there was a slight bit of slip on my duct tape, but no, it didn't. Like, that was it. It was still an adequate draw stop. It still kept shape for the good part. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why to use duct tape. It's definitely not electrical tape. And I would recommend against cloth tape. I do use cloth tape as a cover because I don't really, it's all nice and shiny, but it's obviously duct tape. I would rather, at the end, if I had cloth tape with me, I would cover this. Just kind of seal everything, and then also that way it just looks better.
Could you use, would you say that cloth tape would be decent to make the draw stop and attach, like initial attach with in place of duct tape?
I would recommend against it. I say again, it's just not as far as like building up, like, especially because we will be building up so much. Duct tape's usually just easier, and like I say, and it's a better overall tape itself when it comes to holding up to stuff. So that is the basics on attaching. There are a few other things as far as like prepping your arrows and stuff. Like I say, technically this works as a draw stop. Though the rules do say I'd have to build this up to an extra to a full 1/4 inch, and that's only about an 1/8 inch, I think, at the moment. Yeah, so that's only about an 1/8 inch at the moment. So I would have to continue building that up, but I'm not going to do it for now because at the moment that arrow is attached.
Yeah, premise is there. Good stuff.